Welcome back. In this episode, we're going to be learning about preparing the environment. A nurturing, safe, and trusted environment is critical for children's social, emotional, physical, and cognitive development. Children need space to build, move, sort, create, pretend, spread out, work, and interact with friends. They need diverse materials in sufficient quantity to keep them actively involved. The choices children make and the way they carry out their choices is also affected by their space. So join me, Miss Trot, as we learn all about preparing the environment. The early years are crucial for cognitive development of children. It is essential to have sufficient floor space for children to move around furniture and other equipment. In Alabama, we follow DHR minimum standards for daycare and nighttime centers, which states there shall be at least 32 square feet of indoor activity space for each child and shall be at least 60 square feet of outdoor play area for each child. These figures do not include kitchens, closets, bathrooms, staff areas, or entryways. Before arranging a classroom, review the developmental objectives of the program, developmental needs and ages of the children it is being designed for, and check the DHR minimum standards for daycare and nighttime centers for guidance of what is mandatory to that specific classroom. An attractive, well-arranged classroom is welcoming and visually pleasing. It conveys a sense of order and encourages children to use materials and do things for themselves. It respects the children's curiosity and nurtures a desire for exploring while molding their behaviors. Boundaries found in this type of classroom make the children more responsible, and they know where to find the materials and where to return them when finished. Safety is an important concern in planning space. When children feel safe, they feel free to learn. Open spaces must be provided so adults can supervise the entire room. The ratio of caregivers also affects safety. The specifics for Alabama can be found in the DHR minimum standards for daycare and nighttime centers. However, programs might choose to go above and beyond these minimum standards. The physical space of a center may be divided into 7 main areas. The basic areas include entrance, director's office, isolation area, kitchen, staff room, bathroom, and classrooms. An organized classroom can help inspire children to take part in activities of the day. The space should be arranged to define the scope and limits of activities. Space will also affect the children's use of and care of materials. Therefore, the space must provide for proper learning experiences. When planning classroom space, many factors should be considered. They include licensing requirements, program goals, group size, scale, and traffic patterns. These will greatly affect how the classroom is organized. All states have their own licensing requirements, and you will need to know your state requirements established by Alabama's DHR before you begin planning. Some common requirements are fire extinguishers, exits must be clear, entrance doors must open to the outside, and early childhood classrooms should be on the ground floor next to an exit. A program's goals should be based on the children's abilities, age, and skills. The environment and planned activities should stimulate growth and development. Program goals should also reflect state licensing requirements. Group size is an important factor to consider when arranging space. I mentioned earlier that there are guidelines for minimum square footage and adult-child ratio, but the types of activities will also impact your planned space. The more children there are in a group, the more empty space is needed. A good rule of thumb is to plan open space for 1/3 to 1/2 of the classroom. The classroom environment must be scaled to the size of its occupants. Child-sized furniture should be purchased, and bulletin boards and interactive whiteboards, toilets, water fountains, sinks, pictures, and all other items should be at children's level. Traffic patterns are the way children move between classroom areas. Furniture should be arranged to create useful traffic patterns. Program activities will also affect traffic patterns. Classroom arranged according to activity areas provide an ideal environment for active learning. Each activity area should be clearly conveyed to the children what those choices are. Each activity area also is a space of its own, and furniture can be used to create those boundaries. These areas should be arranged by function, keeping active and quiet areas away from each other, as well as wet and dry activity areas apart. Remember that rather than being static, room arrangements must be flexible. Rearranging the classroom area is necessary when the children's interest or developmental needs change. This can be accomplished by switching out the materials in the activity areas or by using themes. Children require an introduction to the activity areas in a classroom. They need to learn what materials are in each area and what activities take place there. They also need to learn safety rules, cleanup, and routine for using and replacing materials. Careful arrangement of materials will enable the children to help maintain the learning environment. Some common activity areas you will find in an early childhood classroom include block building, art, dramatic play, sensory, woodworking, math, library, music, science, technology, private space, sleeping, and eating. Developmentally appropriate programs value outdoor as well as indoor space. Many classrooms do not have the proper amount of space for large muscle activities, and other activities can take place outdoors during pleasant weather. The outdoor playground can fill these needs. Now, let's review what we've learned. Properly organized space is key to promoting children's learning and influencing the quality of learning. It provides children with the option of working alone or cooperatively. It defines expected behavior for children. Properly organized space frees the children to play without interruptions and provides children with choices. Space should reflect children's developmental needs, interests, and experiences, as well as the program goals. In such space, children are more relaxed and positive. As a direct result, teachers can spend more time nurturing and less time redirecting children's behaviors. That wraps us up for this episode. You can learn more about this topic by reviewing the resources posted in your course. As always, if you have any questions, please contact me or your instructor. Thanks for joining me, Ms. Trott, as we learned all about preparing the environment. See you next time.